Taurus, welcome to your end of February 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. So there is a full moon coming up at 8 degrees of Virgo, which is a fellow earth sign. And so this is the 5th house, which is a really fun house. This is the house of creative self-expression. It's a house of falling in love. So something may be birthed. I mean, this is the house of children. Or actually conceived. The moon is a very fertile time. So if you're artistic, or even like you have an entrepreneurial streak, you might come up with an amazing idea for a business. Your business may start to take off. You may fall in love or fall out of love, depending on where you're at. So it's just this is the house of Leo, so it's kind of like a fun energy. Even as a full moon, it can be feeling a sense of maybe completion about a project, a creative project that you have, been working on or something like that. So let's see here what the cards want to tell us. Oh my gosh, we've got so much earth energy here. I'm going to pick an additional card. So much earth. I was going to say I spoke too soon, but I actually didn't speak too soon because it's just more earth. Okay. Let me see this. Well, let me just look at this for a second. I usually don't look at all the cards and try to draw them together. I like to just go as I, talk as I go. The heart of the matter is the King of Swords. Now, it's not going to be the same for everyone. This is a general reading. So I don't, try to make everything fit everybody. The King of Swords is somebody who is acting in a very detached way. A very, very, very detached way. This can be a literal air sign, and especially an air sign male on the older side. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, somebody who is, for some reason I go Aquarius, somebody who is very detached, very rational, putting that in quotes because sometimes air signs don't tell anybody, but I think some of them can be a little bit goofy because, and the reason I say this, I'm not saying crazy, just like full-blown crazy, but like kind of eccentric and goofy because they think too much. They're always in their heads, and when you're in your head and you're not grounded like an earth sign, like Taurus is, you can spin out into these abstract ideas. And reality is relative, that's for sure, and we're living, on a material plane. So that isn't the end-all be-all, at least I don't think so. Maybe you do, I don't. And so obviously I don't think that this is where it's at ultimately, but we're here, and if we're not grounded in, meaning that we're not anchored to the earth, we're, just a little bit kind of like spaced, or thinking about Aquarius in particular, it's a sign of like the mad scientist or the inventor, and that kind of person can be brilliant, and they may come up with some brilliant things, but on the other end of the spectrum, they can be have a hard time just like functioning on a day-to-day level. So we have to do both because we're here. We're we have to function. I mean, maybe functioning is overrated. I don't know. So that can be somebody who is just very out of touch with their feelings. And if you're dealing with such a person, you might feel this sense of alienation from them. The king can be the father. So if you're dealing with either currently, dealing with your father, maybe taking care of him or having to interact with him, and, depending on a certain stage of life, it can really like make you aware, like, oh man, I didn't understand all those years ago how like he was never really emotionally available for me. And like it really hits you all of a sudden for some reason. Now, this can be a judge who has to make these kinds of decisions without allowing their heart to just kind of, get involved in it. And that can be, maybe you're dealing with a court case or something. In the past position, we have the Queen of Pentacles, so this could be you. I'm wondering if there is something with, like, we have the Queen and the King, that's the father and the mother, if there's something with money and being a parent, so like a child custody issue, who's going to pay more money. And if you are a Taurus and you are like really in this to win it, or if you're like just like, I'm not going to let them take my money, man or woman, doesn't matter, and you have a child that is in between the two of you, please think about that child. Even if you feel like it's unfair what's going on, or, think about the child first and make sure that anything that you do is not going to create more trauma or stress for the child. When we say money isn't everything, and it's funny, they say, what's that phrase? They say money isn't everything, or something. It's everything. There's like a saying, joking about materialism, but it really can come in between you and peace of mind, or it can be like something that doesn't need to be aggravating you. Even if somebody's being unfair, just consider like how much is it worth to get rid of this problem. And I'm not saying that that's true in every situation. If this is an inheritance, I got like the Six of Pentacles. This can be an inheritance issue or something along those lines. And maybe there are times you don't want to reward somebody who is deceptive, who is cheating, who's trying to steal money from other people. I'm not saying in every case you shouldn't fight for it, but just consider, like, what are you fighting for? If you're fighting for justice and for integrity, then you're probably doing the right thing. Well, I know you're doing the right thing, but if it's just for the money itself and like because you can, then think about it very long and hard. Just because you're an earth sign doesn't mean that you have to, just be totally immersed in it, is basically what I'm trying to say. The higher message, so this is looking at it from the bigger picture, is the Nine of Pentacles, which is about financial independence. Now, in some cases, this could be saying, hey, you have financial independence. What's going on here? You don't need this. You don't need this aggravation. You don't need to do this. Or if it's, another thing can be independence means that you're generating it sometimes, not that somebody else is, the source of it. So if you feel the sense of like, I want to be financially independent, then what I would say is that you have that ability regardless of what happens in a case like this. King can be a boss, and that boss may be withholding praise, and perhaps and that's why I say, like with a father as well, this idea of somebody withholding praise, probably to get you to try to earn it. And in those cases, it can be very tempting to fall into that trap, to think that, oh, I have to do this in order to be acceptable to this person. And really, no, that's not how it works. You don't have to be earning acceptance. Anytime that you feel that you have to be earning acceptance, that is a relationship that is not a healthy one, even if it's a parent-child relationship or an adult, even parent-adult-child relationship. The Queen of Pentacles is this idea of maybe like being that anchor at home, that person, home and hearth, and wanting to, enjoying that. And I could see a Taurus person really being like that, and maybe not having that kind of person who is really appreciative of it. Maybe they're indifferent to your whatever it is that you're doing. And that could just be, if this is like a husband-wife situation, that just could be basic incompatibility. So, I said at the beginning, Aquarius, because that is one of the earth signs, but probably also in the back of my mind, I was thinking in terms of the fact that you're both fixed signs. So that fixed signs can be physically attracted to one another, and that can be the first point of attraction. But then, are they compatible in other ways is the real question, intellectually and otherwise. So this type of person may not even like to be at home all the time. They may be very social, or they might be very interested in their pet issues that they like to explore, and that you might feel left out of the cold. What is crossing you is the Moon card. Don't abandon your creativity. Maybe that's another thing. If this is a facet of you, you have to decide what you want to do. Like if the King of Swords is you having to make a very dispassionate, unemotional decision about something, Taurus, maybe you're working in a field that is very in the mind, like science or a teacher, something, right? I was thinking something with teaching, or being a lawyer or something like that, and you really have that creative side to you that you want to explore. And maybe you want to be at home with the Queen of Pentacles. Perhaps you've had to be at home and you like it there, and you don't want to go back into this masculine environment. See, Queen of Pentacles is double feminine, and King of Swords is double masculine. And masculine energy is yang, is outer. And that has its place, there's no question. And people have, preferences, and that's okay. Some people are very active, and even earth signs. I know an earth sign who is always on the go and always outside the home. Not always 100% of the time, but a lot. And I couldn't be that way, and my sun is in Sag, and that's a masculine sign, but I have a lot of earth, so I have a lot of feminine energy, and I just like that domestic scene a lot. And some people are like that, some aren't. You have to know who you are. The Moon card in the challenge position can be a lot of confusion. Maybe you're being pulled in two different directions. Sometimes when I'm like analyzing a chart, for instance, and I look at a person's what's going on, their information, they have this combination. Like if I was looking at a Sun in Taurus's chart, maybe they have, Mars in Aries, or the Moon in Leo, and they have just like, they're very extroverted, and they have all this thing, and they don't really identify with being a Taurus. And you can see that there is two sides to them, but the sun is really important, and we grow into the sun, I feel like. And so the Moon card can be confusion, it can be addiction. Now, this doesn't have to be you that has an addiction, somebody around you that's very important. Maybe the father of your child. Maybe that's why they drink, is because they are out of touch with their feelings, and they're just very, they're trying to suppress their feelings. And, they're kind of lost unto themselves because they don't have that sort of way of being able to really be comfortable with some of the things that are going on. In that case, that person is maybe hiding from what they really need to deal with. But that's not for you to be able to resolve. That's something they have to resolve. You know, with the King of Swords too, if this is your boss, you may feel like something is up. You know, what's going on? You know, the Moon card can be, oh my gosh, I can just feel the vibes, like something is about to drop, what's going on, and it can feel like very uncomfortable to be in that situation, because you might feel like there's not this forthcoming, you know, vibe from other people, and that can be unnerving, you know, to be in that situation. So how I look at that is, you have to do you. And that means that you have to be able to chart your own course, regardless of what other people are doing, to kind of hide their true feelings or whatnot. It's not easy when you feel like you're dependent, or, you know, like with the there's all this money energy around here. So it could be that you're worried about money, or that, but these are not bad money cards. So I just want to tell you, these are very good money cards. So maybe it's just like you being you as a Taurus and just wanting to make that money. But you have to look at your feelings. And the Moon card can be like your, you know, something that's below the surface that's not being revealed. You know, how are you handling it? What is coming in is the Three of Pentacles. This is a card of teamwork. It's a card of financial. This is a good card for money, financial abundance, and also, like, in terms of relationships, it can be like building those firm foundations. It's the Architect's card. So could this be something that you're trying to go your own way? I think that, I mean, this is a card of you working with others, but in this particular case, if you are somebody who has either been divorced, is in the process of getting divorced, some kind of a legal action, you have the good financial card, so that's not an issue. The Moon card is actually connected to Pisces, so if the Pisces person is a problem, that might be a sign from the universe that, you know, yes, this person is a problem. Now, sometimes this person may be a good person, and they just have an addiction, they just have mental illness, or they're just like, they can't get it together, and you feel like you might be running the show. And, you know, perhaps you're also trying to raise a child and you feel like you're doing it all. Well, in that case, you don't have a partner. In that case, you have, it's almost like having another child, and that is not going to work, obviously. And it's not going to work for them either, because you know, you've probably heard the term codependency, or enabling somebody, and that kind of situation may feel like you're helping them if they are acting like they're very lost in their life. But it's really not, because they're you know, they're kind of shirking their own responsibilities. So it's perfectly fine to help people that are just struggling in the moment, but there are some people that are just, it's a pattern where they're always struggling, they're always making bad decisions, and they never seem to get better. They, you know, if you try to suggest something to them, they get angry and they're like, I don't need your help, but then they're asking for your help too. So, you know, just keep that in mind, that this is something, you know, this card, the Three of Pentacles, like looking for a partner, that's like a big one, like somebody that can be your helpmate, you know, in addition to your soulmate. But the soulmate is a very like romantic term. The helpmate is more down to earth. And the other thing is building a firm foundation instead of having a shaky ground, having somebody who might not be, adding to your life. I hate to say it like that because it just sounds kind of, just like making out people that they're just completely worthless. No, they may have wonderful qualities. They may be very nice and caring, but they're dragging you down with their own addiction or their problems, whatever their situation is. So I did pick an outcome card, and there's certain cards I just don't end with, and this is one of them, the Seven of Wands, because it kind of, more than a kind of an end point or a period, punctuation mark, it doesn't really do that. The Seven of Wands just kind of describes what's going on, and it's a sense of defensiveness. So you may feel like you're having to defend yourself from somebody. Maybe it's that King of Swords, and that person may be very adept at getting inside of your head and somehow knowing your vulnerability and kind of bringing it out, and maybe even what they say is true, but you can tell that there's a coldness behind it, that there's not like an affection, a caring. And when you sense that kind of thing, then you know that person isn't coming from a good place. A person who tells you things that are unpleasant, but they feel like really strongly that you need to know, but they're almost like it's hard for them to do it. That's a lot different than somebody who uses it kind of like to cut you down to size, maybe because you're earning more money than them. Maybe that's what these cards represent. And they're trying to keep you, feeling insecure. So that kind of person is not somebody that is really going to add value to your life. Maybe this is that you're fighting back with some legal matter and that you have to stand your ground. That could very well be. Maybe you are tempted to just kind of take the money and run, or just pay the money and run. But maybe this is a larger issue than that, a bigger issue. And it's kind of like speaking to you what you need to do. Who knows? And the clarification card that I picked was the Six of Pentacles. You see the scales, could be the scales of justice. Somebody who has the means of doing so, who has this person who's wearing this outfit that suggests a higher status in society, giving to the one who needs. So in a situation of doling out money, it's really about the person who has it to give, giving it to the other. If you happen to be that person, maybe that is you, but you're not going to lose anything, in other words, because you already have it to give. I think like in like any kind of an office or like a job situation, it's getting some kind of the money that you deserve. Maybe that has been like arbitration in the workplace, the feeling that you're not getting the pay that you deserve, and that you have maybe a boss who doesn't appreciate you and you have to take it to a higher court. So not sure what it means for you, but I hope that it resonated anyway, at least part of it. And if you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Thank you for watching, Taurus. Take care. Bye.